There are many forgotten weapons in Warframe, weapons that once upon a time pulled at the heartstrings of Tenno by being, fairly strong and fairly used, but nowadays they're just collecting dust. This, my friends, is the top 10, 11 or 12 of weapons that need an Incarnon Adapter, for old time's sake. Starting off with the Opticore, you could say that, hey, this was never really a kill 'em weapon, this was more what it still is today, a utility weapon. It can apply crowd control, it can knock your targets around, which is, subjectively speaking, fun, but you can get the same effect from a number of different sources, and slowly and surely, nobody touches the Opticore anymore. Next on the list, the legendary Buzzlog. This was played a whole lot more than it is today on console, especially when Eidolon hunting was a bit more challenging. Nowadays you can do Eidolon hunting with a toothpick, but the Buzzlog still has this really cool mechanic where you can attach a homing beacon to a target and then all of the shots will automatically get redirected to it. It's not a horrible weapon by any stretch of the imagination, and it can still pack a punch, but it would really do well with an Incarnon Adapter. Some Tenno feel like the Daikyu hasn't seen justice. I mean, it doesn't even have a Prime variant. Maybe Protea will have one. And while it can definitely pack a punch, well, it's a bit outdated to say the least. An Incarnon Adapter on this one hopefully will look different than on the Dread or the Paris. One thing's for sure, while you can kill Eidolons with this one and a headshot plus slash and vital as per usual will kill even a high level target, an Incarnon Adapter on this one that would change the functionality entirely would definitely breathe some life back into the old bow. The Static Core is a weapon that I always loved. It's simply so much fun to play. You can even launch this charge-up projectile that gives you the whole Dragon Ball-esque vibes. But when it comes to actual power, well, it could be a whole lot more stronger than it is, and it simply doesn't see a whole lot of play. And for good reason. However, in my opinion, this is one of the most funnest secondary weapons in Warframe, and it could definitely do with that Incarnon Adapter. You can't really call the Opticore a forgotten weapon, unless of course you didn't really know about it to begin with. This is the photon cannon in Warframe, and it does have a variant. You got the Vandal, which is, well, could be more machine gun, and you have the OG, which is more sledgehammer. The problem with the Opticore in today's meta simply fell behind. This is, however, one iconic weapon in Warframe. As a fledgling Tenno, I remember one of my teammates pulling out an Opticore in a survival mission. It was so impressive, I worked so hard to get it, and I was not disappointed. In 2024, however, it needs something a bit more. I don't think there ever was a time in Warframe when the Sybaris Prime was actually one of the most powerful weapons in the game. Maybe at launch, but I wasn't around back then. What I do know is that it has two variants, a Dex variant that you can get for free right about this time in Warframe during the yearly celebration, and this unbelievably beautiful Prime variant. The problem with it, semi-automatic, burst weapon that can only really rely on Vital and Slash, like so many other weapons of its type. Beautiful, fantastic weapon that deserves that Incarnon love. Now, tell me truthfully, have you ever even seen this weapon? Yeah? This, my friends, is the paintball gun in Warframe. This, once upon a time, was the weapon to have. And I do mean once upon a time. Nowadays, most Tenno don't even know about it. But it could shine once again. An Incarnon Adapter is just what the doctor ordered for this old school powerhouse. Used to be powerhouse. Nowadays, basically irrelevant. The Oona Prime was more or less one of the most powerful hand cannons you could get. It was a secondary weapon that could absolutely annihilate. In normal missions and in Eidolon hunting as well, thanks to its two fire modes. In primary fire mode, this one launches a metal slug. In secondary, you get yourself what is essentially a buckshot, therefore the shotgun experience. And yes, the spread is quite impressive to say the least. Nowadays, while the Oona Prime is still usable for some content, especially if you're more like me, a bit nostalgic, realistically speaking, there's very little reason to use the weapon, and it's a crime shame that such a beautiful, old-school fan favorite doesn't see any play. Incarnon Adapter? How much Daka is too much Daka? Huh? Trick question, there is no too much Daka. Clem's signature weapon, the Grata. You see, the Grata comes in a couple of flavors. You got the primary Grata, which comes in normal and Prisma variants, but you also got a secondary dual or twin Gratatas, which are absolutely insane to play, but they run out of ammo really quickly. Essentially, these are the bullet sprayers kind of affairs. And just for Clem's sake, and they would deserve that Incarnon Genesis Adapter, because Clem rules and Cal sucks. And finally, a superstar among weapons, well, a superstar of Once Upon a Time, the Tigris Prime. Once upon a time, this was the weapon to have, especially if you like to do index. Nowadays though, as soon as I start explaining the duplex trigger system to new Tenno, they already tune out. This used to be an extremely popular weapon, and I'm sure that a whole lot of Tenno still love this one. But it doesn't end with the Tigris. There's another weapon that basically is in the exact same boat, although it's a fair bit more newer than the Tigris Prime, and that's the Exergies. As the base functionality between these two weapons are similar, there's no doubt about it that the Tigris was definitely first, and in my opinion, it should definitely see the Incarnon treatment. And I do believe, my friends, that is pretty much it. As always, my name is Lazar. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content. And let me know in the comment section down below, which is your favorite weapon that you need to see an Incarnon adapter on. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to sub. Bye.